Yo, 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 happy Friday, everybody. It's 8:30 a.m., October 9th. Lots of price action to cover, lots of things to cover, even on the news front, whether it's the crypto news or even the traditional finance market news. So I'm going to go through all those things, and then we will also cover Bitcoin analysis, altcoin analysis from a low time frame basis to a higher time frame basis, because I'm sure everybody's wondering, okay, Bitcoin has moved up a couple $100. What the heck do we do, right? Should we long? Should we short? Is the market ready to keep moving up? Well, let's see. Let's start breaking it down, right? So let's get down to the 15-minute, all right? On the advantage side, our members got to take a scalp position right here. As you can see, we got in a long around 11,710. This area, just a break above the October 4th weekly open, which was down here. Oh, I don't know why Siri's talking right now. So we got into a long trade right around this area, the October 4th weekly open. So on this big candle pop, took a long, we closed out our position in this area between 10,850 and 10,950. And that's pretty much it, right? This was really the extent at which I was looking at the market for previous supply to potentially reject us. And as you can see, as per this red box, this red box goes back to this key rejection right here. And of course, this key rejection. And I was thinking, okay, maybe from here we pull back a little bit deeper. And then if we're going to push up, we're going to push up. But in fact, obviously something else happened, which was, we busted up right through that just overnight right here. So I was happy with missing this because honestly, it was kind of a gamble of, knowing if this area right here was going to break, right? So this X right here, and then of course, this area. I had no idea if this thing was going to break up overnight, okay? But the fact that it did makes me now look at the market a little bit differently. So a few different things happening. On the 4-hour time frame, we've broken above the R1, okay? And as you guys have been watching me utilize pivots, you very well know that I love using pivots from level to level, right? So if you start breaking above the pivot level, you're going to the R1. If you start generally breaking the R1, chances are pretty high that you're going to the R2. But here's where things get different, and this is, again, based on my personal experience. Once you start getting through the R2, I've generally seen prices start rocketing towards R5. Again, it's not always, it's just, more situations that I've seen than not. Same thing the other way around is, say we're breaking below the pivot, right? Generally, we should be getting to the S1. Okay, obviously in this case, you could see we didn't really get to the S1. We kind of just, hovered on another technical level, which was the 10,584 KSR level, and then we pushed up right through the pivot, right? So again, pivots are a design and a mechanism of understanding KSR levels, okay? But there are numerous other smaller levels, right, that should be kept in mind when visualizing price action, drawing other levels. So as you can see, while there is only one S1 level, notice I have several around this area on the right, as you can see. I have the October monthly open, October 4th weekly open, multi-month SR level that goes back to September 2019. I have the September 6th weekly open, the September 13th weekly open. This is just how I visualize the markets. And to be honest, more often than not, my SR levels are actually more granular, and they give me better optics on the market than I think just simply these SR levels do. These are incredibly helpful, by the way, okay, because they're basically doing everything that I do, but on a broader, higher level context. But if you really want to dig into the weeds and figure out, okay, why is price getting stopped at X level versus Y level as per the pivot level, then you have to start doing what I do, which is mapping out these levels. And I do this quite a bit in my Advantage community, in the Bitcoin analysis channel. I'll put out a ton of updates, explaining to people exactly how I'm looking at the market with all the levels that I'm watching, lay out pivot levels and everything that you need to watch, okay? But anyway, point is, yesterday we took that scalp, good, $140, $150 move. And we closed out that position, as you can see right here. All right. And, now we're kind of just waiting. We're trying to figure out, like, what is the market trying to do, right? What the hell is the market trying to show us? Well, to understand that, you have to also look on the broader traditional markets, okay? A few things are happening in the traditional markets. They themselves have had a nice, obviously solid movement up over the last several days. This shakeout right here, obviously it got shaken out to the other side, okay? Bulls came in, buyers stepped up, and they drove the price literally higher than this key high right here. So on a visual standpoint, the ES, which is the futures market for the S&P 500, it is looking pretty decent, okay? Here's what it's literally doing right now, all right? It's just above the 618 level. It's already surpassed some of these highs right here. And the question is, okay, does it start pushing up from here or does it start rolling over? I think that is actually dependent on a few things. For example, I'm very carefully monitoring two things. Number one, of course, traditional markets across the board. I watch gold, I watch oil, I watch the Dixie, I watch the S&P 500. I trade stocks relatively frequently as I do crypto. Okay, I would probably say more of my attention is definitely given to crypto. This is why our community has its own equities analyst right here in live equities. You can see Faisal puts out his own update every single morning, every single evening, only for Advantage members. And you can see exactly what he's looking at in the market, how he's positioning himself, if he's, buying, selling, longing, shorting, buying options, all kinds of stuff. So very detailed, granular explanations. But the point is, I focus a majority of my attention on crypto, okay? And when my attention is focused on crypto, I'm following two things, in the last several months, which is, number one, how are traditional markets moving and how will crypto benefit or move based on their movements? Well, generally, I think, traditional markets are kind of turning around. But again, this isn't like a breakout mode. We're definitely going up. It's okay, we're having grinded movement up. Maybe this thing even turns around. I don't know. There's a few things happening on the news front. A couple of weeks ago, I also made a video stating that I think we were at the end of September. I stated that going into October, going into election time, prepare for news flow to be spontaneous, erratic, almost impossible to predict what that's going to do for the market, and the market itself to be completely, irrational. Markets are generally irrational anyway, but prepare for volatility and irrationality to take the markets to a whole different level, which they totally have. Okay, I mean, the perfect example is, y'all can see, for those of you who are not following the traditional markets, I mean, in this area right here, the sell-off, this is basically where, Trump himself started talking about there won't be stimulus talks, and then literally overnight, the futures markets picked it back up because Trump then said, okay, well, I'm open to stimulus talks. So again, you can see that the crazy disparity and stark contrast between news flows from one trading day to the next right here. And then, of course, the market kind of took that up higher and higher because the House and or the Congress and the president are in talks of potentially, giving stimulus. So again, the market, drove the price higher in anticipation that probably stimulus is going to be passed. So, you can see how that kind of impact, has on the market. And then, of course, Bitcoin is, of course, going to benefit off that, right? But again, until this point, we were right over here until maybe yesterday or something. Or actually, I think we were up here yesterday. And so, you can clearly see that the market is kind of basically predicting, in my opinion, that there will be some sort of stimulus pass. And that's basically what the market is hoping for. They're literally, willing to dump the market or push the market down if there won't be stimulus. And that's just how it is. The market is like its own little cartel. You know, they require stimulus. They expect it almost. And if they don't get it, well, then, you know, chances are we're going to sell off. And it's not because people are greedy or anything. I think the market already knows that the economy is struggling. They know that a lot of these businesses are not doing as well as you may think. Their stock prices are doing great, but they're not doing spectacularly well. Neither is the economy. And not that the stock market is a direct reflection of the economy, but in many ways, you know, it kind of gives confidence and strength to consumers and businesses that if stock prices are going up, if the stock market is looking generally healthy, well, then there's decent money flow happening, capital is moving, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, Bitcoin can be seen the same way. Okay. Now, in Bitcoin's news efforts, right, you know, there's a couple of positives, which is, again, Bitcoin can move off of the positive stimulus news that I just showed you, or rather the anticipatory positive stimulus news, right? So Bitcoin obviously moved up, okay? But then we have, you know, BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes, you know, leaves role of, you know, obviously being the CEO of BitMEX, after these charges that happened with the CTO. Okay, so what impact will that have on the market? I would probably figure that it would be a negative one, but of course the market doesn't give a shit about that right now. All it's doing is it's probably pricing in these stimulus talk news, right? And so if it's doing that, well then, you know, we have to assume that, okay, well, you know, where is the next big supply area for price to come to and maybe sell off? Well, it's possibly over here, okay? In this red block between 11,150 and all the way to 11,450 or so, way the heck up here, that was this previous consolidation before we sold off. And we even rejected it right around there and we sold off. So, you know, it makes sense that we're going back to that same area. There's also this dotted trend line that I have. Okay, so if you pay attention to it carefully, notice that it comes from the 12,500 high, the 12,100 lower high, and we are coming to meet price right now, okay, which is $11,060. So the question is this the area that we get rejected at? It's hard to say because, you know, here's the thing, right? I'm thinking that if we're over here at the trend line, I don't see why we can't head into this red block, because this is the key supply. This is a big, you know, structure of big sellers who help propel that price down. So I'm looking at this market thinking, well, it doesn't make any sense if we get rejected here and then sell off, because this trend line is, yeah, it's relatively strong, but I would figure the bears and the bulls help propel the price at least towards this area. So both the bears and the bulls can come to a decision point and figure out who's the stronger of either of them. If the bears are still strong, they will push this price at least back to this key open right here, which is 10,584. Well, let me take that back, okay? If the bears are strong from here, they will at least force the price down to the monthly open probably, which is around, you know, 11,775, okay? If that holds, all right, well then there's a chance that the bulls drive the price back up. And from here, I would not be surprised if we start breaking up higher and higher, okay? Because then what that would have meant is, okay, we've hit this supply area once, we've hit it twice, and then on the second time, you know, the bears tried to push the price down, but the bulls defended it on the monthly open, and then they drove it back up. In which case, I would probably figure from here we're, you know, likely going up higher, okay? But say, you know, we go up here and then we start getting rejected, and then we start breaking below the monthly open. Then we're probably going to the multi-month SR level, which is 10,585. And then say we break that as well. Well, then we start going back towards the 11 to 11.3 territory. Where are the odds of, you know, like, I guess the question is, what are the odds of, you know, which scenario to happen? Well, for that, I think we have to go back to this daily chart and look at the moving averages, okay? So first things first, this triangle that I had drawn, right? Remember, ABCDE triangles are compression triangles, okay? Generally, they lead to continuations, they're continuation triangles, continuation patterns. In this case, this triangle should have been a continuation down, but it's not necessary that it has to be a continuation down. It can obviously be a continuation up, as you're seeing right now. So if this is a continuation up, well, this triangle in general has technically failed, because in this case, the continuation down would have given us a different target, which would have been, $91, $9,200. But what we could simply do is, this compression is still active, meaning you could just look at the triangle from the flip side and say, okay, well, we compressed and now we're expanding out of it to the upside. Well, then what happens? Okay, well, then we just make a simple measurement, right? From here, we have the A wave. From A wave, we just broke out, right? We're breaking out of the triangle right around that area. Well, then what does that put us for a target profit? That puts us right around $12,250. $12,250 is the measurement of this triangle. Now, again, that's not necessary that we have to do that, but I'm just saying that it is possible that from here, we push up, okay? I also mapped out a couple different scenarios within that itself, which is, so we're gonna get rid of this triangle for now. So I stated that, okay, if we're breaking past the 50 moving average, this red zone, which is again our previous supply, right? Because this is a key SR level. I'll show you exactly why, okay? If we go across the board, right, you can clearly see that this was previous support, 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 resistance, and again, it's probably going to be resistance, okay? Now the question is, as we come into this resistance area, is this the area that we start breaking up from? I don't really know, right? My analysis goes from level to level. So I'm thinking from the 50 moving average up to this level is one trade. Breaking and holding above the red level, which is 11,250 or so, that's a whole separate trade, right? Because then from there, you're aiming at least towards 11,900, maybe 12,000 or so, okay? But from here, you should not be expecting, okay, well, from here we have to go up. Because it's tough to kind of look at the market and say, all right, well, we've broken about the 50 moving average. There's nothing else in the way. That's not really the case, right? You can see there's numerous things in the way, and it's quite possible that, we do go up, but it's also possible that we get rejected here, and maybe we pull back down. How low do we pull back down? It's hard to say, right? So I'm kind of looking at this market, and thinking, all right, well, there is a potential opportunity where, maybe this thing tops out around 11,200, somewhere around that area, which is around this red zone, or it just gets rejected right around the key highs of this marker, which is 11,175, which is again, pretty close to 11,200. So keep an eye on that. I don't really have a dog in the race per se at present moment. I have a Bitcoin scalp short position, or a swing short position, which is, basically a hedge. But again, I'm not, betting that Bitcoin has to go down. It's just a hedge to protect my other altcoins, which are not doing so well. But now, the case is kind of flipped around where the market is maybe starting to turn. And now I'm thinking, okay, do I need to close out of my hedge? If so, where? And so typically, I will lay out my strategy for my Advantage members and let them know, exactly where I'm thinking about getting out, what altcoins, or, where I'm thinking about getting into a Bitcoin trade, all kinds of stuff, about how I'm seeing the market. So, but in any case, if you guys are interested in that kind of analysis, the link is below for our website, www.thealphatrades.com. If you want 2-a-day videos on how we look at the market, because as you can see right here, right, in the Advantage announcements, you can see we have private Zoom sessions every single night for our Advantage members. And usually through the week, Advantage members always get 2 videos a day, morning and night. And again, that's, US morning and US night. So whether you're in Europe or New Zealand or Africa or India, anywhere you are, you'll still get, one of the most up-to-date recent videos. And of course, my analysis, which I do total breakdowns of what I'm seeing in the market on a, generally I put up analysis every few hours to show what I'm seeing in the market. All right. Anyway, if y'all are interested, the link is below for our website, and you can go sign up and join our Advantage community. And if there's going to be a bull run, well, come join for the bull run. If there's going to be a longer extended bear market, there's also money to be made in the bear market, so come join for that. All right. So the other thing, I'm looking at is things like Link and Ethereum, other altcoins, right? So again, I had pointed this out to my Advantage members. I stated that we're coming to this trend line, okay, which was, previous resistance, right? As you can see, going back all the way to September. So first trend line started right there, second, third touch, fourth touch, and then again, we were having our fifth touch right there. So I stated that, okay, well, if we're coming, back towards this trend line, well, if we are going to break through the trend line, I don't want to see these kinds of candles breaking through the trend line. I want to see this kind of candle. Big candle, big volume, okay? And that's exactly what we saw. So the fact that Link is, pushing the envelope and breaking out through a key trend line, Bitcoin itself is showing strength. And then, of course, there's things like Ethereum and DOT and other things that I'm looking at right now, okay? So, for example, ETH, I'd stated that this is a key SR level that I've been watching, right? 355 is a big level that I've been watching. If you break above 355 and hold, well, chances are, you're going to 374 or 385 up here, okay? But again, we got to hold up above this area. We have to hold above this area. So what the market is kind of telling me right now is, okay, well, we've broken through now key resistance levels of 355 on Ethereum, of at least a local level on Bitcoin, which is, around 10,950, 10,975. On Link, we broke out from that $9.57 or $9.50 to $9.75 level. That descending diagonal trend line. So all things across the board in the crypto sphere kind of telling us, okay, something is brewing. The market is either getting ready for a big push up, which again, we would recognize, right? For example, if this level holds right here, well, this is the area to long, in my opinion, because you're taking a long back towards this 375 level or this 380 level, maybe even higher. Same thing with Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin is a little bit different technically, because what we're looking at is the largest supply for Bitcoin is way the heck up here, around 11,150 all the way to 11,450 or so. And I guess, you can make the same argument for ETH as well, because the largest SR level for ETH, is this area right here, which is anywhere between, 380 and 390. So yeah, it's possible that maybe we could take, a level to level trade, meaning that we take a trade from 355 up towards maybe 375, 380, and that's it. Same thing with Bitcoin. We take a trade, maybe if we get a retest of say 11,000 or 10,950, then from here, we take the trade from here into the supply, anywhere between 11,175 all the way to about 11,450. So you could see that there are a couple of opportunities for trades that are popping up, okay? They're all very uniquely kind of set up to give us maybe one more push up. And then after that, then it's honestly, it's anyone's bet what the heck is going to happen. Because you could see from the larger macro perspective, if we get even higher in this red box, well, we're still in the red box, meaning this is all key support resistance flips. Nothing has really changed in the market per se. You know what I mean? So that's the way I'm looking at the market. Level to level. No, I don't think there's been a breakout. If someone wants to explain to me how this is a breakout, go ahead. You could say it's a breakout from the triangle, but it ain't a breakout from the range. And that's, in my opinion, the most important part. Okay, so there are, again, like I said, a few level to level trading opportunities that are available. Um, they may not be perfect. They may not be, huge swings in the market, um, but I think they're there. All right. So let's see how the news flow goes, right? Let's see how the stimulus talks go. Let's see, what kind of impact BitMEX, CEO leaving, CTO getting arrested, all that jazz, what that means. And then, again, on my Twitter feed, make sure you all go check this out and follow me, the Alpha Trades, or rather the_Alpha Trades. You can see right here, there's a DOJ report talking about, big enforcement for crypto, all kinds of news flow. Like I said, it's going to be crazy couple of weeks, right? Going to election time. And then there's, something else that I was kind of watching just from afar, which was Tezos is very much, caught in this legal case. And I've been watching Tezos for a little while, and I've been wondering, while other altcoins have been doing, relatively decent for several months, why was Tezos, continuously bleeding down? Well, it makes sense now that, this whole thing is still kind of kept Tezos in a bind right here, in this area from basically beginning of August. It's still rolled over, right? So I don't know. I mean, maybe just be very, very careful if you are a Tezos trader or a hodler or anything, because it doesn't look good, to be honest. It just seems like it's a real shit show. So I don't know what's going to happen with Tezos, but best to stay away when there's legal battles like this going on. All right. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Of course, we know that Square also bought $50 million in Bitcoin, which is awesome. I think it's a Square, MicroStrategy, all these different companies that are getting into Bitcoin, or even, earlier this year, Paul Tudor Jones, when he got into Bitcoin, all these things are very, very positive for Bitcoin. Okay. But just because they're positive for Bitcoin doesn't mean that they have to have, a direct positive price impact like right away. It doesn't work like that. So I'm looking at the market and thinking, okay, well, let's see what else the market can give us. Can it start giving us, more of a push, more of a higher high kind of flow? And then, we'll go from there. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, hit the thumbs up. If you want to join our community, all the Advantage members, we all hang out in here. We have multiple channels, Bitcoin analysis, tons of channels right here, Bitcoin chat, altcoin trading, which is the traditional altcoins. And then, of course, we have a DeFi chat. We're going to start talking about, having a separate NFT analysis, NFT chat as well. So that should be fun. So lots of stuff happening in the crypto space. So come join. And yeah, let's get prepared for the volatility. All right. Cheers.